Your Majesty at your service. Welcome to Fair Queen Talks. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of my podcast, Resilience to Thrive. As magical and fluffy I want life to be, I think it's very important to understand the world that we live in and be aware of the dangers so that we can navigate, survive, and thrive through this existence. As you know, Season 2 started back in October 2020, and we are approaching the 1-year anniversary of this amazing podcast, Fair Queen Talks, next week on the 27th of March. As much as I love bringing fresh content to you every single Friday, I have taken the executive decision to end the season on a high, and therefore next week's episode will be both a celebration of our queendom and a wrap-up of Season 2. Having said all this, I think it's important that my message to you today and next week will be of value and speak to the inner part of you, that person that is eager to achieve their vision and live a life full of purpose, a person that has a lot of dreams, goals, and is wanting to build a legacy here on earth. I speak to that part of you today. On this episode, I want to remind you of your greatness and why resilience is essential to your growth and ability to thrive in this existence. My hope is that by the end of this episode, you will continue to grow in confidence of your own abilities and embrace all the things that make you, you. As your fairy queen in a what can sometimes feel like a challenging, saddening, and dreadful world, it is important that I don't sugarcoat things for you. It's part of my duty to equip you with ideas, tips that will be useful for you in the moments when things get tough. Growing up, I had access to sound advice from people that popped into my mind when I got myself into tricky situations, and this is why it's so great to listening to podcasts, because you can digest content that will be stored into your brain, which will be useful for you during tough times. When we are in difficult situations in our lives, we go into survival mode and we turn to our brains. This is why it's important to program our brains with useful knowledge so that we can have access to it in those tough moments. Life is tough, but our minds can be tougher. It's like when you go for a run and your body feels like giving up, and your mind is not having any of it and tells your brain to tell your body that today is not the day. Your mind tells your body, I know you're tired and feeling pain, but we will finish what we started. And then there's that moment where your mind is the one controlling the body and no longer faced by the pain and tiredness. Then when you finish the course, the body tells the brain, wow, you can do it and you can finish what you started. And then your brain tells your mind, I told you can. Our minds are so powerful. It can literally break or make us. And this is why resilience is key. Katie Hurley wrote an amazing article for Everyday Health called What is Resilience? Your Guide to Facing Life Challenges, Adversities, and Crises. This article is packed with so much goodness. It'll be so hard to cover everything on this episode, but I will touch on a couple of things that I read. So, 2 common questions on the topic of resilience are the following. 1. What does it mean to be resilient? And 2. Why is resilience important? Resilience is the ability to withstand adversity and bounce back from difficult life events. Being resilient does not mean that people don't experience stress, emotional upheaval, and suffering. Some people equate resilience with mental toughness, but demonstrating resilience includes working through emotional pain and suffering. Resilience is important because it gives people the strength to process and overcome hardship. Those lacking resilience get easily overwhelmed and may turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms. Resilient people tap into their strengths and support systems to overcome challenges and work through problems. Being self-aware, taking the time to self-reflect, and tapping into your own greatness are ways that you can develop your resilience. When you focus on your strengths, you focus on what you do have, what you can do. It is far more optimistic way of looking at the world and allows you to focus on problem solving. Being resilient is not about being a tough cookie. Rather, it's about processing your emotions and hormones in a healthy way and identifying the issues with the intent to work on them. Life is tough, and with resilience, your mind will be able to be tough enough, strong enough, capable enough to handle the challenges life throws at you. I heard a good quote some time ago from Jeannie Mai. She said, "New level, new devil." I took this to mean that the higher you go, the more progress you make, you'll be introduced to new challenges. If you keep this in mind, you prepare yourself mentally to be resilient. If you are going to achieve your goals and live in your purpose and build a legacy, you will meet opposition, whether that be in life, your family, or your mind. We are not exempt from challenges, but we are able to work through challenges, overcome them, and thrive from them. People who accept that failure and challenge is part of life and essential to succeed will succeed. The word resilience is often on its own to represent overall adaptability and coping, but it can be broken down into categories or types: physical resilience, emotional resilience, community resilience, and psychological resilience. I won't go into the fine detail today, but this demonstrates that resilience is broken down into categories because we can build resilience in so many parts of our lives. We may be stronger in one part and weaker in the other. As we tap into our greatness, it's important to identify where our strengths lie, because then we know which parts we can work on and where we have a natural ability to overcome challenges. As we all work on being more resilient, I want us to read out some words of affirmation. I would encourage you to repeat these words after me and believe them about yourself. So, after me, say these words. I am amazing. I am resilient. I am determined. I am strong. I am enough. I am loved. I will overcome. I will thrive. I hope you affirm into your mind words that allow you to grow and develop into the person that I know and you know you can be. Great and a blessing to the world. As we've come to the end of the episode, I want to leave you with a quote about resilience from Dieter F. Uchtdorf. It's your reaction to adversity, not adversity itself, that determines how your life story will develop. As your fairy queen, it is my prayer that your life stories all end up in a happy ending for you. So stay resilient, stay motivated, and stay strong. At the end of each episode, I address the queendom. Being resilient will allow you to handle the challenges of your life in a healthy manner. Life is tough, but your mind is tougher. Affirm your greatness. you will have your happy ending. Thank you so much for listening to Therapy Talks. See you next time.